Stop. If you're currently ghosting her, you're actually doing the one thing that keeps you stuck in her head rent free. Wanna know the secret to making her stop texting you for good? It's not silence, it's something way more powerful. One, look, we need to have a serious heart to heart about this whole ghosting phenomenon because it's absolutely destroying the way we connect and modern relationships. And honestly, it's mostly driven by deep-seated insecurity rather than a lack of genuine interest. When you decide to just drop off the face of the earth, you ain't just ignoring the text. You're psychologically signaling to yourself that you're incapable of handling uncomfortable emotions or direct communication, which is a massive red flag for your personal growth. Most people think they're being clever by avoiding the drama of a breakup or a difficult conversation, but what you're actually doing is living a trail of confusion that forces the other person to fill in the gaps with their own anxieties and insecurities. This creates a toxic loop where you both end up feeling worse, and it prevents you from ever developing the emotional maturity required to sustain a healthy long-term relationship, which is ultimately what most of us are actually looking for deep down. 2. Let's talk about the reality of why she might be texting you back even after you've tried to pull away. Because this ain't always about her being desperate or killing it as your ego might wanna tell you. Often, when someone reaches out after you've ghosted, it's because they're seeking closure or trying to understand if there was a genuine misunderstanding, and your silence is just a chaotic variable they can't quite figure out yet. By ignoring her, you're accidentally keeping yourself relevant in her headspace because human brains are hardwired to solve puzzles, and your sudden disappearance is the ultimate frustrating puzzle that she ain't been able to finish. You have to realize that by not being honest about your intentions, you're inadvertently keeping her tethered to you, waiting for an explanation that you're too scared to give because you're terrified of looking like the bad guy or having to admit that you just ain't that into it. See, if you wanna stop this cycle, you need to understand that being an adult means accepting that you will occasionally be the villain in someone else's story, and that's perfectly okay as long as you're being transparent and respectful. The moment you start treating people like disposable characters in a video game that you can just switch off, you lose a piece of your own integrity, and that's a cost way too high to pay for the sake of avoiding 5 minutes of awkward conversation. I see so many guys struggle with this, thinking that if they just stay silent, she'll eventually get the hint and go away on her own. But that's a cowardly way to handle human connection that ends up damaging your own reputation and self-esteem. Start practicing what I call a radical kindness, which means even if you have the end thing, you do it with clarity and compassion, acknowledging that her time is just as valuable as yours and that she deserves the dignity of knowing where she stands. If you're learning something you'll hear, hit like and subscribe. This channel is built to sharpen your relationship game. 4. Think about the message you're sending to yourself every time you choose to go someone you were previously interested in, because your brain is constantly recording these behaviors and building your identity around them. If you make a habit of running away from discomfort, you're gonna find yourself doing the exact same thing when you face challenges in your career, your finances, or even with your own family members, because you're training your brain that avoidance is a valid strategy. This ain't just about dating, it's about becoming a man of your word, someone who has the strength to face reality head on instead of hiding behind a screen and hoping the problem just magically evaporates. When you decide to stop ghosting, you're reclaiming your power and setting a standard for yourself that says, I'm a person of character and I handle my business with grace, which will naturally attract a much higher caliber of people into your life and who will respect you for that strength. 5. Now I want you to take a moment to really reflect on the last time you ghosted someone, and don't try now justify it by saying she was annoying or that you were just busy, because those are just excuses we tell ourselves to mask our fear of confrontation. Did you feel relief, or did you feel a nagging sense of guilt that you had to suppress with distractions like scrolling through social media or playing games? That guilt is your conscience trying to tell you that you're capable of better behavior, and it's a compass you should be following instead of ignoring. From here on out, I want you to commit to a new rule. If you spend more than 2 dates with someone, you owe them at least a clear, kind message if you're not feeling it, because that tiny gesture can save both of you weeks of wondering and analyzing unnecessary rejection. It's a small, powerful step toward being the type of partner who doesn't just play games but actually knows how to build something real and lasting with another human being.